Okay, I needed to capture this information. I thought I'd go ahead and do it now while I'm building this test piece. Um, we had, I know that's hard to explain, but we had finished this prototype of a tender for a chassis with the required pieces to operate a 310 that had been modified and updated. And I made a lot of changes to this. I drilled new holes. I changed some wire around. So I thought I should back away and go back into the CAD file and modify this component so that everything fits exactly without a lot of extra holes and things like that. So this is where I'm at. I've printed the parts that I need to assemble this, and I'm ready to move on to the body. And I thought before I move on, I wanted to share the nuances of what we have. Okay, so this is a plastic two-piece shape of what the bottom of the tender would look like. If it were in metal, it would be a lot thinner, but it's plastic, so it has to be thicker. And I've made the shape and the holes and everything as I need them for this new part. I did do a retrofit exact duplicate of a Northern chassis, so if someone has a Northern chassis that's zinc rod or whatever they get, let me know. In any case, made some holes and move things around. The purpose of this is to hold all the bits that are needed to run this engine. And I don't have them all on here, but this is the motor controller board, this is the power distribution board, and this is a volt regulator, and this is a electric railroad soundboard, which will get exciting if you go look at the video of that 310 engine, because it has the chuff sound, it has a steam whistle, and it has a bell. And it also has the running pop-off valve and stuff like that as the engine is running. Some of the features on here are the new trucks. This is the simple frame design, side frame of a freight or tender for 4 wheels, and it's all 3D printed. I'm using factory bolts. The spacers will be, these are the spacers. This was a test one I tried and it was too fat, so I didn't have the motion I needed. It restricted we have a suspension system, so to speak, so that's kind of handy. I just spent the last 3 days finishing this piece up, and what I really wanted to cover for you now is how to build and assemble this thing, because I've sent 1 or 2 out. It hasn't been successful as other people try to use it, and I struggle to find out what happened or why. But in any case, I build them and I just see things and then I make adjustments, and I don't really talk about it. I didn't write the manual, which is probably an error on my part. But there's things I needed to share, and I wanted to do that right now. So we start with some dimensions, and I have this notepad, and I'll try to make all of this clear. I have found that there are several axle shapes that you can get. The one I like is a 37 to 37.5, 37.8 from, I get mine from the train tender. The diameter is the key. This one that I use and like most of the time is 2.4 millimeters in diameter. Now there is some others. This one is 2.5. Okay, it's also a little longer. Now when I ordered this part, he sent me these parts, and I ordered him a second time. He sent me these parts, so I went back and forth. He says, "Oh well, those were new old stock, and this is a replacement stock." I said, "Well, the replacement isn't the same size." He says, "Well, that's the best we can do." And I said, "Okay, so what do I do with the wheels? Because the wheels I have fit on the old axle, and this new axle's thicker and all that." So he says, "Well, what I've been telling everybody is you have to drill out the wheel." Well, I wasn't real excited about doing that, so I haven't been using many of these axles, but I do use a few of them. So first piece is you got to get an axle. I have some, but ideally you can also go look at yours, and if you see this 37.5, this is a 37.4 out of a knuckle truck. This is out of the old Link truck, and it's 34.5. It's too short. 34 is too short. So you need the knuckle coupler shaft, or get a replacement shaft that is a 37.5 round numbers millimeters long. That's what you need. And then what we do is we cut it in half. Isn't that exciting? So you buy this thing and then you cut it, and what you want to get are two half pieces that are very similar. And what I have found, even in my cutting, I don't do a very good job sometimes. I've cut them as short as 17 and as fat as 19. It's like, what? But it's just not that easy for some of us to do this kind of work. So if you cut this axle in half, try to get it in the middle, and you'll get 1875. Now you will have some waste because you're cutting, so it ends up about 18.7. So if I measure this one, I don't know what it is, but we'll see here in a second. It is 18.56, so it's 18.6, so it's a little short of the ideal cut, so I cut it off just a little bit. The other piece is probably longer. I have others, so the longer one is probably over here. But I found the thing you want to work towards is a 4 millimeter stub right there. And I'm finding with what my parts are, getting that to wherever it is, right there. Let's say that's the knurl, this is the short piece, make that 4. And then the long piece, I think, is 7.5. Let me see what it says here. See what I can guess at. Yep, 7.5, 7.7, something like that. So if this is 7.5 and this is 4, you're good. If this is over 8, you're going to get in trouble, and you'll see why later, okay? So now that you have your axle cut in half, what we have to do is push it into a wheel, and you have to get a wheel of the right diameter. Now these are okay, and this will slide in and then it will lock. Well, not that one, that's I just grabbed one, okay. This will slide in nicely, and it will lock when it gets to that knurled part. And what I do is I slide it in until all of the knurling is just barely visible, and I stop and I measure it. And you want that 4.0. That'll usually catch it, okay? And if you get these wheels, you might have to drill them out. Just make sure your drill is not bigger than the axle. This axle diameter is 2.4 and the drill is 2.37. You get a couple thousandths of a millimeter press fit, and that's what you need. Now I found the brass wheels are a different ball game. So if you're going to use brass, you're going to find those are a lot more precision in the engineering of the hole's going to be fine, and it will press in. It'll be just fine. At least the ones I bought. Okay, so if you have the two axle halves, I'll show you how it works. The two axle halves. Let's have the one that's like that. Okay. This one. No, it was this one. Okay. This one goes in all the way. Pretend that's right. So it's pressed in, and you got two axle halves. Then you're going to take a spacer, because one of the features I'm building into this, I'm using all metal wheels on all corners, and the axle has to be isolated. These spacers have a 1 millimeter piece of plastic in the middle. You can't see through them because that spacer is there. So if you push this in, you'll stop, and you'll see that if the wheel is pushed on, it will sit like that, okay? So you'll have a little groove in the middle, and you have about a 4 millimeter sticking out, and that's what we use to fit into the side frames that we have. And these axles then will be isolated. Not like this, where not isolated, one steel wheel, one plastic wheel, otherwise it'd be a short to the track, right? Now, I did try Mike's Train House wheels, cut them in half, put them together, but I find that their axles are so short and the wheels are so thin that they don't work. It's just that doesn't work. So maybe the wheel could be made to work, but I couldn't. And this is how these things get assembled. You have this pivot frame, I call it, and it will fit up to the exact same of the sheet metal housing chassis of the engine, or it works on mine because I designed mine the same. Then I have this pivot pin, I call it, and it sits down through the hole on the top, metal chassis in between. This is on the bottom, and you put a screw into it, tighten it up as a shoulder screw. It's the same shoulder screw we use on our couplers for the engines, and the shorter of the two with the shoulder, and you screw that together, and then this will pivot around the chassis. And then these two pieces will then hold the side frames